How are you wonderful people doing? My name is Michael, or is known as ThirdGenGamer, and welcome back to the ThirdGenCast. This is episode 2. If you missed episode 1, be sure to go check it out. Essentially, it was kind of an introduction, and then we kind of talked a little bit about Pokemon in general, then we talked about Bitcoin, miscellaneous things, and today we have some similar topics, but yet again, there's a little bit of a difference, and yeah, let's just get started right from the get-go here. Podcast. For the first episode, I just want to, talk about the previous podcast, going through the whole thing and, recording it, going through the whole process, editing it, and then also posting it, receiving your guys' feedback and everything, which, by the way, thank you so much, everyone, for being so supportive of the first episode. It really does mean a lot to me. And also, this podcast is going to be on every single streaming platform for the most part as of right now, because it took a while for me to get all the podcasts up on various platforms, but here we are today. I think at this point, if I just upload podcasts to my podcast distributor, it's called Anchor, it should be able to just send it out everywhere all at once now, which is really, really cool. So yeah, feedback, everyone was so supportive about it. Of course, let's just say, personally, going through all the editing and stuff, there were a lot of things that I did in the podcast I was just like, oh gosh, it's awful. Like, for example, a lot of the breathing, which, I mean, I'm a heavy breather just because I'm someone that has asthma, so that's just one of those things where it's hard for me to breathe from time and time again. And next thing you know, I'm going through the entire timeline for the audio, trying to get rid of every single huge breath that I have. And then it's just, so it's not as loud for everyone else that's listening in the podcast, because that can be obnoxious. Or if you're watching it on YouTube at ThirdGenGamer, yes, I mean, I just be sure to, get all that stuff out. And let's just say, yeah, that was a whole process. But hey, I don't know if that's a thing for every single podcast when people, do their edits and whatnot to get rid of heavy breathing or whatever. It may be the case. I don't know. But for me, I was like, I'm just going to go through and get rid of pretty much every single heavy breath that I had, because it was just obnoxious. But yeah, that's one thing. I don't know if I can necessarily improve that per se, unless I could somehow improve my breathing, which there might be a way to do that, actually. I don't know. There might be something. Other than, let's say, being more fit, I can do some lifting again. I used to actually lift a lot of weights many, many years ago. And yeah, I did upper body, lower body, and then I was constantly running a mile at the beginning, at the end of every single workout. So yeah, no, I haven't done that in forever. Granted, I stopped doing it before the virus outbreak, so I couldn't just say I'm gonna blame it. I'm gonna blame it on the this whole pandemic thing, because it was actually before all this stuff went down, so I cannot use that as an excuse. But that is one thing. I don't know why I'm talking about this right now. We're 3 minutes into this podcast, and I'm just randomly talking about being in shape and having a hard time breathing, and then making heavy breaths in the podcast. Yeah, anyways, there's connections there. There is. And also, there are people that were poking fun at some of the words I was saying. Like, for example, I was saying per se as, like, when I was saying, it's like, it's a term of expression, be like, okay, I'm going to describe it as this, and then I think it would be like this, but then it's this. And I was saying per se, and anyways, people were like, who's Percy? And I'm just like, oh, goodness gracious. And now, for some reason, there's a meme on my YouTube channel like, where's Percy? Show Percy on the podcast. Which, by the way, I'm sure they're very excited to hear Percy being mentioned in this podcast, even though Percy does not exist. Of course, there are such thing as, there's people that are named Percy, and there's a book that's literally Percy Jackson. But there is no Percy here. There is none. I'm sorry. Even Jacob, a friend of mine, Jacob as always, fellow YouTuber, he's like, oh, I could change my name so I could be the Percy for your podcast. I'm just like, okay, this is something else. This has just become a meme. It is just a gigantic meme for my YouTube channel now. Anyways, there's that. So that was an interesting feedback. But yeah, no, there were a lot of people that told me that they really enjoyed the podcast, whether it was in the comment section of the video, or even at some of my live streams where I do a lot of Nuzlocke and stuff. And yeah, no, it was really awesome to hear a lot of people be so excited to listen to me talk for an hour and then think it was enjoyable to listen to. That's always a good thing. And obviously, there's a lot of things that I had a few problems with, whether I had periods of time where I went off on a tangent, which I did earlier in this podcast, but I also had that, or I'd be like, and then take like 10 seconds And then next thing you know, I'm like, oh yeah, no, let me start talking, you know? I guess it's natural to have a time where you kind of blank out, and it just, I couldn't tell you. It's just like, it's hard to have just continuously talking and make sure you have thoughts the entire time for a straight hour. And that's what it's always nice to have, like, there's a lot of podcasts out there that have multiple people, and then next thing you know, they're all talking, they have their own ideas, and then you can take a break just to think about something. But yeah, when you're by yourself, it is a little difficult, which, by the way, there will be some guests to this podcast at a later point. I'm not sure when that's going to be, but it will be happening very soon. Whether it's just a few fellow friends, content creators, whatever it is, we're just going to just talk and, just branch out and learn some stuff, We're here to listen to not only and have an enjoyable time, have something on in the background while you're doing something, but also learning new things. And I feel like, even, my whole channel is based on Pokemon, but I'm talking about various other topics too, because it's good to be well informed in many different aspects or many different genres or whatever, because overall it just helps you be a more well-rounded person. So of course I'm not talking about Pokemon all the time, but I'm branching out to go talk about other stuff because I also want to learn some stuff too. And obviously when I'm preparing for these podcasts, I'm trying to find things to talk about, and whether it's a few news articles or whatever, it's just whatever it is, just to broaden my horizons and hopefully do it for other people too. I think it's just a really cool thing. So what has happened since the past week? Well, I went back to school. I'm back in college, got my semester, 5 classes. It's gonna be fun. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting because I haven't had 5 classes in a semester in, a year. Because really, let's see, it was in the last winter, I actually had 5 classes, ended up dropping a course, took the W, which means I didn't get any money back, and I was in the class long enough where I couldn't get money back, and it counts as an attempt, and you get 2 attempts at the class. Otherwise, you just can't take it anymore, which I think that's just a stupid thing in general. If people want to spend their money on a course 3 or 4 times, why don't they let them do it? I mean, it just means they get more money, but I don't know. That's a whole thing. So anyways, I had 1 class that I completely dropped out of. I didn't want to have any part of it. So that was 4 classes. And then this last semester, I didn't know what was going to happen with all the online stuff. So I took 4 classes. And now here we are, 5 classes, 4 online, 1 I meet on campus once a week. So we'll see how this goes. You'd be like, just 5 classes. It should be normal. Yeah, it's been a year since I've had 5 classes, which is just, it's kind of crazy. So I have to get back and, stay organized, because 4 classes, I feel like it's easier to handle because it's 3 less credit hours. And yeah, it's going to be something. I mean, I have a lot of upper level business courses as I am a finance major, but also I'm going to be finishing up my minor for IT. And yeah, it's going to be rather interesting because, I'm going to be doing all these classes online. I'm just starting to get everything going again. As far as most of my classes are concerned, they're not really doing any due dates until the next week, or at least for like some homework and quizzes and whatnot. So I have some time to kind of get back into the swing of things, but there's a couple of classes I actually had to get some stuff done right away, which is like, oh, that sucks. That really sucks. But I have 1 of those classes done, and then now I have 1 more that I actually have to do before Sunday, which I have most of it done already, so I'll be fine. But yeah, it's just to get used to that. And then also with YouTube and all the other things, like there's going to be a new YouTube series coming out on my channel, new collab with Mr. Jacob, as always, a person I didn't mention earlier. And I want to talk about something new that was on YouTube that I actually just started doing, and it's actually really successful so far. It is YouTube Shorts. So YouTube Shorts apparently have been around for a couple months. Didn't know about them. And it wasn't until I saw a fellow content creator that I actually look up to in many regards for some of my Pokemon content, Original 151. He started doing these YouTube Shorts, and then also I listened to his Sunday Sauce podcast, and he talked about it there too. And I was just like, okay, I want to take a look at this. And then I watched various videos on what it is. Essentially, it is like a TikTok, but it's on YouTube. So they have them called YouTube Shorts, which is you can upload a video. You can upload as a normal YouTube video, 60 seconds, but it has to be like the screen aspect ratio that's the same as your phone. So I mean, typical video is 16:9, but then you have to make it 9:16. So like your phone, like this. So have it so it goes along the screen, like up up and down that it would actually follow that way. And then that way they can do things like swipe up or like, subscribe, swipe, 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 you know, all that stuff. Anyways, I uploaded my first short. It was like 4 or 5 days ago at this point. I think the time that this will be uploaded. And let's just say that video hit the YouTube algorithm. Okay, so with the whole thing, so it has to be under 60 seconds, 9:16 aspect ratio, and then also you have to have the hashtag shorts in your title, and then also I put it in the description too, just in case. That way it's for YouTube to know that it is a YouTube short. And yeah, it takes a couple of days from what I understand. And my short actually hit the YouTube algorithm last night, which was when I'm recording this is Friday, but this could be posted on Saturday, of course. But on Thursday night, I noticed for some reason my views were going up like crazy. Next thing you know, I look at my real-time views and it was all coming from my YouTube short. And I believe that was 3 days. 3 days I posted that video, and then YouTube picked it up and then it went off. So it went from 100 views to 4,700 views over the course of like 4 hours. Of course, after that, it just died off and now it's like leveled off. But that's really good to know that I can get 4,700 views on a video that is a minute long. And I mean, yeah, it's not just simple, oh, I just upload a minute long video. You have to do some edits to it, of course. But it's rather interesting that the YouTube has kind of adopted this whole TikTok aspect to their YouTube website. And essentially how you access the YouTube shorts is that if you're watching on your phone, I'm assuming tablet too, you can, like when you go through your recommended videos, they have like a little section that's for shorts. And I'm assuming my video just showed up as like a recommendation for YouTube shorts. People click it and then bada bing, bada boom, they got more and more and more over 4 hours. Yeah, I got 4,700 views on that video, which is just absolutely amazing. I actually just uploaded a new short today, which is, well, Friday, so it'll be Saturday for you, so it'll be yesterday. And let's just say that I mean, obviously there's no activity right now, but I'm expecting in 2 to 3 days, maybe 4 days, I'll get that same weird surge that I saw randomly and then die off again. And it was essentially, I was playing Pokemon Heart Gold, and I was doing a hard mode Nuzlocke, which I had called an advanced Nuzlocke now. But I got a Suicune as my random encounter. And let's just say chat decided they wanted to kill it off. I put up a poll and they voted for me to kill it as my encounter. Or which was my encounter. So not only I didn't get an encounter for that route, but I didn't get the Suicune. Anyways, it's kind of like one of those things where like, that's funny, but it's like, oh, that's big sad. I don't know, because like my first video was the Weedle absolutely destroying me in Pokemon Unbound because I kept missing it because of the fog. And the Weedles kept hitting bug bites when my Pokemon were in the red, and it was just awful. Anyways, it was a funny video, and a lot of rage, a lot of good, like, you know, just laughter and whatnot. Not for me, but for other people. And then this one was kind of funny, but also like, oh, I feel bad for the content creator kind of a deal. So I'm just trying to see what else I'm going to do. And also I have another short that's going to be releasing on Sunday that I've already edited and put together. It's uploaded to YouTube. I have it unlisted right now. And it'll be going public on Sunday, which is going to be exciting because it is going to be something that is going to be promoting a future series, which I'm going to be doing with Jacob as always, which by the time you see this, I don't know if we have announced it already, or if he just wants to keep it a secret until the day the first episode goes up. But yeah, so we have a new series coming up and it's exciting. And we haven't done a series together in a very, very long time. And we're definitely trying something new. I'm not going to be saying what it is specifically, but it is going to be a Pokemon Nuzlocke collab series, and it's going to be a good time. We've recorded 4 episodes already, and it's it's definitely an experience. Another thing is we're actually going to have an editor for this series. It's not going to be me. It's not going to be Jacob, mainly because I want to focus on shorts, the podcast, as well as live streams, while I can also record and then submit the videos to an editor. We'll see how it goes. If the series takes off and it pays for itself, it's like, okay, there we go. We'll just keep paying this editor to do more for us, and we'll have multiple series of the same thing if it really is going to take off. Because Jacob and I truly believe that this upcoming series is going to be one of the best on YouTube. I'm just saying that. I'm not trying to overhype it or whatever. It's a fun series, and it's going to be exciting. You're going to be on the edge of your seat. It's just, oh, it's going to be so good. But yeah, no, this video is not necessarily that's going to advertise it, but because it's a short of us together in a previous series, And I took one of the funniest intro moments we had and just turned it into a short, and then I'm going to upload it. So yeah, I'm reusing some content. In fact, I'm reusing all my content for the shorts, but it's good because if I want to branch out to new audiences, they'll be able to see some of the content that we do. And also, it's also really cool for a lot of people that haven't been on the channel when these old clips are coming up and getting posted. And it's just a cool thing that people can take a look at this stuff like, oh, wow, I missed that series. I might as well go check that one out because it seems like it would have been a fun one. You know, just stuff like that. So, okay, so we went from, okay, so we're good here. I think that's good for this topic. Next up, we're going to talk about Pokemon cards. And yeah, we talked about shortages the last live stream and scalping and all that stuff. Here's a little bit of a piece of news. So there was a bunch of presentation cards, and Wizards of the Coast wanted to take the job to print Pokemon cards way back. I believe it was in 96, right? I'm assuming 96, where they wanted to make Pokemon cards from the Pokemon Company. And basically they had to get the approval first, because obviously they need to get the approval from Pokemon in order to make their cards. And they had these cards that were kind of like, I mean, they were just for presentation purposes only. So there's only 2 of them available. It was a Blastoise Pokemon card, which you could tell is not like what it would normally be. Like, for example, it was a Blastoise card, but it's completely different from base set. And plus the font they used was different and all this other stuff. Anyways, this person, I forgot if it was graded. I don't think it was. I think it was just the regular card itself. The person that actually had one of those presentation Blastoise Pokemon cards sold it for $360,000. That is more than a first edition Charizard PSA 10 graded Pokemon card, which I believe recently sold for over $200,000. Yeah, a single piece of cardboard with foil on it that has a certified gem mint grade on it, sold for over $200,000. Just one card. Man, if only I had like 5 or 6 first edition Charizard cards. I mean, I think everyone's like that though, to be honest with you. But yeah, this card is almost double of what that Charizard went for. And it makes sense. There's only 2 available of this Blastoise card. It's rather crazy. And I'm sure you look it up. I'm sure you'll be able to find it. But just search up Blastoise Pokemon card, sells for $360K, which that's a lot of money. But there was also another card that was rather interesting that was equal. It's actually way more expensive than this one. And the only reason why I'm going to talk about this because I saw this headline, that Blastoise card. It is a very expensive buy, but that is still not the most expensive Pokemon card. The most expensive Pokemon card is a Pikachu Illustrator card. And it's sold, I think, for $1 million. It was a Japanese card. I believe there were only a couple, there was like only 50 of them made or something. I could be wrong on that. It was a small quantity of this card. And let's just say, I believe it was PSA graded. I think it was a PSA 9 or I think it was a 9. But because there was nothing like that out there in the PSA grade, I mean, this is like a very, very rare card. PSA grade gem, it's not a gem mint, but it's a mint card. $1 million. And apparently, as of today, this same card is trying to be sold for $3 million. It hasn't been sold yet from what I understand, but $3 million for a single piece of cardboard. You know, I would love to say I would have a card like that, but I just don't. I mean, I have a couple of cards that are worth something. Like, for example, just recently, the Pokemon Company did a special promo on their website, PokemonCenter.com, for a special Pikachu card that you'd buy $20 worth of product from the website, and then they would send you this promo and plus like some ornament or whatever with it, and then that was the promo or promotion. Anyways, I bought Champion's Path. The order got canceled, but the Pokemon Company, I went to their support, like, yeah, we're just gonna send you the card anyways, no ornament, just the Pokemon card. I was like, okay, that's fine. Anyways, it's still in the plastic. I have it, and I put it into a top loader because there's a Discord server that I follow that's for Pokemon trading card game. I could put the link or invite link in the description or something if you want to go check that out. But the TCG card, as for description, this is on YouTube, by the way. If you're listening on other podcast platforms, come to my YouTube channel, ThirdGenGamer, which, by the way, third as in the word, not 3RD, Gen Gamer, and then no spaces in it because YouTube likes to mess with that. Anyways, you can go to this podcast, go to the description, and you'll find the link there. But yeah, someone in that group said, yeah, I just paid 500 Australian dollars to get this card. I was like, what? I was like, are you kidding me? but I literally got that card for free because I mean, they canceled my order, but they still sent the card out just to, for good quality customer service. And they gave me, I believe it was a $25 gift card for my inconvenience because of the order. So I got paid essentially to get this Pikachu card because it got canceled. So that was amazing. So I literally got this card for free. I have it. It's still in the plastic. It looks like in really good condition. I kind of want to get it graded, but I don't want to peel it out of the plastic. I don't know. It's kind of, I don't want to mess with it, but it's $400. And then it's still in the plastic. So I don't know if that's still worth anything. So there's like a special plastic wrapping that's on it that comes with the card. And I didn't open it up because of that. So I don't know. If it's not a PSA 10, I'd be like, oh, well, that sucks. I mean, maybe even a PSA 9. It looks really good. I can't see the back of the card, but the front looks perfect. So it's like, is it worth opening it up to get it graded? I don't plan on getting anything graded anytime soon because they're all backed up at PSA. So I'm just like, yeah, no. But it's still good to know because that card could be worth a lot of money. And I also have a first edition Team Rocket's Moltres from Gym Heroes. I bought a random booster pack on Amazon a couple of years ago. Thought it was tampered with, so I was like, I can't resell this, so I might as well just open it up. Like, I wasn't planning on reselling. I was gonna open it for my old YouTube channel, the Battle Productions, and then just use that for a video, and then that didn't happen. So I was like, well, I have it here. I was like, I could resell it, but I don't know. It looks weird. The back had this weird grain like thing. It looked like it got resealed or something. I was like, fine, I'll just open it up, whatever, no video, whatever. And there was a Team Rocket's Moltres in there. And it looks pristine. Maybe, I mean, there might be something else wrong with it. Maybe a couple of white little nicks on the bottom, like really minor. And I feel like it still could get a PSA 10. That card goes for a couple $1,000s. And I'm just like, yeah, that card is just insane. I think non-graded right now is still a couple $100s, which is just crazy. And yeah, no, I have that card. It's in a top loader. And yeah, whenever I actually do want to send in cards to PSA, that is going to be where that'll be what I'll do. I have multiple cards I'm going to send in. I'll probably buy their membership, submit in bulk, and then let's say if anything goes up in crazy value while it gets graded, and they say, hey, you got to pay more for this card to get it back. Okay, whatever, I'll do it. But yeah, no, it's crazy. There's Pokemon cards right now are just absolutely insane. I bought a booster box of Evolutions that I'm going to keep sealed. I bought it at $450. It is currently being sold on eBay for $800. It was like, how many weeks ago? Maybe 3 weeks ago. It doubled in price practically. And I'm just like, holy cow, that's insane. I mean, Evolutions is a popular set. It's a throwback set to the base set, but it's from X and Y. So it's an old set. Like, it's 5 years ago, I think, at this point. 2016, I think it was when it came out. So yeah, that set is a very valuable set. I actually have some booster packs of Evolutions that I bought from tins that were on sale that had the Evolutions packs in them. I decided to pull them out, put them in storage, and then keep those sealed. I think I have like 15 booster packs of Evolution, something like that. So yeah, no, I got some investment, different things, physical assets. I know I talked about that booster box in last week, but I don't think I talked about the actual price of that booster box because it went crazy. Much more than what I bought it for, which is just crazy. Because if you think about it, that booster box in September went for $170 and it stayed pretty level at about $400 once it hit there. And it kind of went $450, $500, and then it kind of fluctuated there. I bought it at a good time because now they go for $800 a box, which is it's just ridiculous, man. It is crazy. Pokemon cards, I guess they could be an investment if you keep it sealed. So yeah. Wow. Okay. So yeah, Pokemon cards, crazy stuff. So now talking about investments, I'm just trying to segue into the next topic, Bitcoin. I know we talked about that a little bit the last live stream, and it was, I mean, we just kind of just talked about how, the money market and the money supply is going up, which means there's definitely a good chance of inflation happening. And then next thing you know it, the dollar isn't as powerful. And, just stuff like that. We talked about that as well. And then how Bitcoin was surging in price. Anyways, here's an update on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin definitely has dropped. I don't know. I forgot what it was exactly in the last podcast. I don't know. It was hovering around 37,000, somewhere around there. I don't know. But anyways, there's a huge pattern that's happening called head and shoulders pattern. So basically there is one small, one small curve that goes up and down. It's like a small curve. And then a really big one. and then a really small one again. And anyways, when that happens, it's pretty bearish. And the next thing you know, the price just drops hard, typically with that pattern. Of course, Bitcoin is a little bit unpredictable. So there were times where that happened. It didn't quite work out as Bitcoin people were expecting, or they're expecting a major drop, because there's just a lot of people buying Bitcoin right now. It's crazy. But anyways, there's a big sell-off that's happening right now, and it very well could drop. I think it's at about 32,000 right now, a Bitcoin. And there's a lot of speculation it'll even drop below 27,000 a coin. And a lot of Bitcoin, like bull Bitcoin people, so people that really expect it to go up in price, are saying, hey, at 27,000, buy it there. Because there was like a history of patterns with Bitcoin where it hits an all-time high, drops about 35 to 40%. Then after that would happen, then it would quickly go up 150%. Like there were patterns like this throughout many, many years when Bitcoin has been around. So the people are expecting that to happen again. So let's say it goes down to 27,000 or even lower. That puts it over 50,000, maybe up to 60,000 a coin. So these guys are saying, hey, if it drops to 27,000 or close to it, just buy it there. It could fall more, but it's going to go right back up based on some of these patterns that were being shown. I'm not super knowledgeable about Bitcoin. I'm constantly learning. Like I'm watching a bunch of these Bitcoin people, and they're like modern day traders where they can say, hey, I'm going to go long on Bitcoin. So they're expecting it to go up. So they're buying at a certain point and then expecting it to go up, and they have like profit or loss deals where, let's say if it doesn't go up high enough, then they might have a loss, or if they're correct, yeah, obviously they win. If they're really wrong, then they lose a lot of money, stuff like that. I'm not going to be a part of that. That is just very risky money. I get, being a finance major, it's like, oh, maybe you should consider day trading. No, day trading I thought day trading in general with stocks is just dangerous. I don't know if I mentioned this in the last podcast, but I would not do any day trading for any stock whatsoever, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Because I get that you have to have experience in order to learn from it, but a lot of people lose money. I mean, there's some people are like, hey, I'll buy low, sell high. I mean, it's easy as that, but then emotions happen and then you're selling at bad spots. Or you're like, yeah, I'm expecting it to go down here. I'll put an option in, so I'm expecting it to go down. So I'm going to buy I'll buy in at this point if it drops down. But either way, if it doesn't, that means I lose a lot of money. And so like, there's a lot of things that you could do, like as far as options trading. I would say cryptocurrency is much worse because it's more volatile. So yeah, I wouldn't mess around with that. I would say you do stocks before that, but I would not touch any of options, day trading, all that stuff. Stay away from it unless you know what you're doing or you have someone that's teaching you how to do this stuff. For me, I'm like, being a finance major, I haven't learned anything about day trading at all like from what I've learned so far. And all I know is it can get dangerous. You can either make a lot of money or you lose everything. It's not a good idea. It is like, oh gosh, it's a mess. Don't do it unless you know what you're doing, of course. But anyways, Bitcoin, the small drop or a big drop and then a even bigger jump after that is going to be exciting because there'll be a time where I'll actually buy in for more Bitcoin. Obviously more Bitcoin as in, oh, I'm going to buy multiple coins. No. When you can buy Bitcoins, you can buy fractional amounts. I'm not going to be buying one Bitcoin. I'll be buying 0.001 Bitcoin or whatever it is, like whatever money I want to put in. And then, yeah, I'll buy in and then watch it soar. And I will probably never have a full Bitcoin. That is just, it seems very unlikely because it requires a lot of money to buy one Bitcoin. And I don't have the money to buy one Bitcoin. That just doesn't work out that way. But also there's another type of cryptocurrency. I believe I talked about it last podcast called Ethereum. And it's basically another like wallet or another cryptocurrency you can invest in as Bitcoin. That's the second largest crypto. Anyways, it's currently sitting at about $1,200 right now. And anyways, that if you want to get one coin of something, like if that's the goal to get one coin of something, it'd be nice to get Bitcoin because that's going to be one that's for sure going to be soaring at the end of all this. But Ethereum, I don't know, man. I mean, I think it will go up and it just won't be as much as Bitcoin. And I feel like in the end, you will be better off if you buy into Ethereum. It's easier to buy one Ethereum coin right now than it is to Bitcoin. And if you think about it, if you buy at a really small price, instead of like buying at Bitcoin where it's like 40,000, where it takes, if let's say you buy at 40,000 and in order to double your investment, you need to have Bitcoin go all the way up to $80,000 versus if you have Ethereum, you buy into Ethereum for $1,000 I'm assuming that'll be right there if all the crypto tanks. Let's say $1,000. All it takes is just $1,000 to double your investment versus 40,000 in order to double your investment in Bitcoin. So it's just like, it's a lot of money. And I would say invest into both. I would still say majority Bitcoin, but I wouldn't say no to also buying some Ethereum. In fact, I have some Ethereum right now. And I mean, as of right now, I'm at a loss, but for the most part, I actually was at a profit. Then, of course, some major drops happen. I do plan on buying more Ethereum as well if it drops significantly more. As you know, it will be really nice that I'll be able to do that. It's going to go back up. They're saying Ethereum will break 10,000 or 20,000. It depends on who you talk to. Some people say 50,000. I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm sorry, but I definitely don't see that happening in 1 year. I could see that maybe at some point, but no, not in 1 year. And then Bitcoin, there's some people saying 320,000 for Bitcoin, which is just, it's insane. If that happens, that's just crazy. But we don't know. It's speculative currency. So we don't know if it's actually going to be worth something like later on. Maybe Bitcoin gets, banned by many countries or something. And next thing you know what, Bitcoin goes from 37, I think it's at 32,000 now, all the way back down to zero because major countries said no to Bitcoin. You can't trade it, whatever. Can't have it. It's illegal. Yeah, Bitcoin goes all the way to zero, which I don't think that's possible because a lot of institutions have bought up Bitcoin. So I can't imagine them banning Bitcoin at this point. But I mean, Ethereum technically could because there's not a whole lot of institutions buying in to Ethereum right now. So there's a little bit of risk to that. And of course, there's always risk with cryptocurrency. And it's funny that we're talking about Bitcoin right now because there was something that happened. There was a big news article that happened. It was about a week ago that there is a person that potentially has 7,000 Bitcoins, which is approximately $220 million, according to the article. I'm sure it's much less now as Bitcoin has dropped quite a bit since then. And they don't know the password to the wallet. So how Bitcoin works is that you can buy Bitcoin, have it online, or you can buy Bitcoin and you can store it on your own computer or a storage device. And then you can have a wallet online or you can have a wallet offline. It's simple as that. But anyways, this person had a wallet that's offline and it happens to be that he stored it on a USB drive that is encrypted. So that means that it's good for security. Encryption means that it's basically the files get, they not necessarily get condensed, but they kind of get masked. I don't know what the best way to describe it, but basically it cannot get access unless there is a password that you have. And anyways, the deal with these USB drives, there's this guy, Stefan Thomas, I think that's how you say his name. He could potentially lose 7,000 Bitcoin because he has the USB drive. It is an iron key USB drive, but he has 10 attempts to get on. And if he doesn't, the actual password for the encryption goes away completely. And he has 2 more attempts left out of 10. And if he does not get in within 2 attempts, he loses $220 million. Which is just absolutely insane. Now, you would think that, okay, he's that close to being locked out of it forever. There has to be some person out there that can hack that USB drive. Typically with encryption, it's hard to do, but I don't know to what level this USB drive is encrypted. So it's possible somebody can go and be like, hey, if you give me $50 million worth of your Bitcoin, I'll be able to go in and save you the rest. And it's like, oh, yeah, sure, let's try it. I'm sure there's a lot of risk that involves with that. Let's say if somebody tries to break in, maybe for some reason it just wipes it regardless. I don't know. But you think there's a lot of very intelligent people out there, people that do a lot of good things and bad things with hacking. I don't know what the official terms are for different types of hackers that are good and are bad. Some are good hackers, which they find all the loopholes and then they, tell a company like, hey, fix these. And there's some that just exploit it and then destroy the security of whatever the device is. But I'm sure that you can find somebody, good or bad, to help them get into this USB drive that has all this Bitcoin in it. And it's not like it's funny because a lot of people are like, oh, let's say there's a wallet, like you have your physical wallet, it's a dollar bill. It's not like a USB can have a dollar bill. The Bitcoin essentially is a bunch of just data, that little pieces of data, letters, numbers, all that stuff. And yeah, it's crazy how a bunch of letters and numbers, as far as data is concerned, that has value. And yeah, no, I feel like, yeah, it's got to suck. The guy, I believe, said in that news article, I think they got interviewed and they said, yeah, at this point, I'm expecting to lose $220 million. Can you believe that? 220, like, yeah, it's like, oh, you gotta feel like crap. The fact that he did not store his password. I mean, to be fair, it's like, yeah, I don't want my password out in the open, but there has to be some way that he could have stored his password and kept it secure, whether it was writing the password somewhere in multiple places and just not saying what it is and just have it that way. I don't know. It's just crazy that he didn't properly keep his password for it, which typically the passwords for those are not like, oh, let's name it Pikachu 2020. No, it's a bunch of letters, numbers, special characters, capital, lowercase letters, all that stuff. There's a lot of stuff like for these passwords. They don't want something really easy to crack. So yeah, no, I wonder, there has to be somebody out there that can break into that. Because yeah, no, he's gonna lose okay, to be fair, it's like, okay, he theoretically, yeah, he has $220 million. And he could lose it, but yet again, he lived his life without it anyways. But it still sucks. It's like, oh, $220 million. It's like you won the Mega Millions, and let's say it was $220 million, and you had the winning ticket, and then on the way to the gas station to go claim your ticket, or maybe there might be another place you have to go and claim it. I don't know. Let's just say you rolled down the window because somebody told you to roll down the window, and then the ticket flew out, and then it fell into a puddle of water somewhere that was really far away, couldn't find it, and then you lost $220 million. It's like, yeah, it didn't affect your life. Like that money didn't affect your life as of today, but that sucks to lose $220 million. Oh gosh, that sounds terrible. That'd be a nightmare. That'd be an absolute nightmare. I would be sick. I would be absolutely sick. $220 million. Okay, that's a lot of money. Like, no, there's always a certain amount of like where there's like too much money, you know? It's just like, okay, $220 million. Do you actually need $220 million to live? I don't think so. There's people that invest, retire. They have like $1 million that they have invested. And it's like, okay, I'll be able to pull money out when I retire. Bada bing, bada boom. That should be able to keep me well funded for the rest of my life, you know? Multiply that by 220. Goodness gracious. But that just has to suck. 700 Bitcoin lost. And that sucks for everyone as a whole, because I mean, the total supply is artificial for Bitcoin. So that's 7,000 Bitcoin that you'll never get back. So I'm sure that could theoretically bump up the price too. So yeah, it's a crazy idea. But yeah, wow, we're already at 37 minutes. We went through all my topics, but yet again, that was really good. That was really solid. I mean, I felt like today was just more fluid as far as the actual topics and going through it. This is what we call the improvement process. You just got to get started, and then after that, work on your improvements and keep on going. And it's just awesome to see that. And yeah, so I'm going to go and grab some other questions here. So from some viewers from my YouTube channel. So we're going to start up. Let's see. Okay, we got quite a few questions here. We'll just pick a couple here. So Adamark, serious question. He also said, what does Budu evolve into? Yeah, no, we're not going to talk about that. That was from a previous live stream. Don't worry about it. But what's your favorite type of content to make? Live streams, collabs, challenge videos, etc. So what is my favorite type of content to make? It's interesting because, yeah, I like everything that I make. I'll tell you, I mean, there's one thing I enjoyed less, and it is the challenge videos, because it's just a long and tedious process, but they do perform very well, and it's definitely well worth the time to do a challenge video, which, by the way, I do have another challenge video for my YouTube channel for Pokemon. It's basically a solo run that I do with no healing items in battle, but I can use held items, and then basically I just have to use whatever I can throughout the game to beat the game with a really bad Pokemon. And anyways, that'll be happening somewhat soon. I mean, I was going to have that done before I even got back to school, but I didn't even do a whole lot of that. I think I only went up to like the 3rd badge, but it's all right. We'll continue that whenever it gets done. It gets done. But yeah, those just take forever, because not just recording, which could take about 20 hours in real life time to get through and finish a challenge video, like just recording. Then there's the script process, which I try to do alongside of the actual, like when I'm recording it myself, so that way I don't have to go through, watch everything again to write a script. And also it's like, okay, I'm writing a script as I go, which is a cool idea. So then I have all my thoughts and stuff for upcoming fights and whatnot, which is really cool. But yeah, then there's the editing process, putting everything together, all the clips, not necessarily 20 hours of footage because I don't record every single piece of a challenge video. Like if there's significant battles or I get stuck somewhere, that's when I hit the record button and then I just go through. But yeah, typically, yeah, I just record what I deem necessary, go write the script as I go, record the commentary, whether it's through Adobe Audition, just typical, like how I'm talking right now, I would just read off a script and then edit, put it all together. It's a lot. It takes a long time to make, but it does pay off in the end. For the, like, I would say there was one challenge video that it just didn't necessarily take off. It just didn't hit the YouTube algorithm, which really stunk. But all the other ones did really, really well. And yeah, it definitely grew my channel. That was the reason why my channel grew so much in 2020, was because of my challenge videos, which was just crazy stuff. But yeah, I would say that's probably my least favorite to actually do. When it's all said and done, I do enjoy, just seeing it goes up. It's hard work just to see my hard effort that I put into that video just to finally get it up on YouTube and then people enjoy it. It's enjoyable to see that. So it's not just like, yeah, there's other aspects that I find enjoyable, all these different ones. Live streams, it's always enjoyable because it's like, okay, it's just, while some of my Nuzlocke videos are my Nuzlocke live streams are rather tough, it's still a relaxing idea just because, I'm just sitting back, I'm chilling, talking with you guys in the chat, doing a Pokemon Nuzlocke, just having a good day, just catching Pokemon, fighting Pokemon, my Pokemon die, throw them in the box, just stuff like that. It's always enjoyable to do. And of course, when they get really long, I'd say that's when it gets a little bit tougher and less enjoyable when it gets to like that 4-hour mark, because it gets a little crazy. I know my last couple live streams were actually that long, and it was kind of crazy. Like at that point, it's like, oh boy, okay, it's time to wrap it up, So yeah, it's definitely tough. Like there's like different aspects, collabs. I love doing collabs with content creators. I mean, it's always tough to, find people to, find like the people like that you'd be able to do it with and, just be able to push out like really good content and also just be able to keep that going on a consistent basis. Like, for example, Jacob and I are doing a collab coming up here. And one thing that was always a problem for us was editing. And while this will be a little bit pricey to have an editor for us, we really feel like this series will take off. So we think it'll be worth it in the long run, and we're gonna try it. We'll see what happens. That's the risk we're gonna take. Whatever revenue that we do get from YouTube, like YouTube is pretty much my primary revenue at this point. I mean, I do work for my parents from time to time again to make a little bit of money, but YouTube, that's it. That's where I make all my money right now. While I'm also in college. Luckily, I'm at home, so a lot of expenses have been canceled out and gone, so that's good. But yeah, no, it's just. Yeah, I would say collabs are the most enjoyable for me. The editing can be annoying. It depends, because sometimes some of my edits that I do, Adobe Premiere just doesn't like it and then causes issues. Even with my really good computer that I have right now, it's not necessarily a hardware thing. It's a software thing. It's a whole thing. Premiere Pro while I do like it, it's good editing software. It's good when it works. When you start trying to rendering off things, like there's certain shake effects that I have, try to add motion blur to it just shuts, like the whole Premiere software just kind of just shuts down. And then also when I render, sometimes the shake effect doesn't work properly. It fails the render and it's just like, oh, goodness gracious, it is terrible. But like there's always good and bad aspects depending on what content it is. It's not like what is my favorite type to make, because there's always favorite parts of each individual thing I do. Otherwise I wouldn't be doing them. But I would say probably the collabs and the live streams are something that I enjoy the most. But in the end, it's like all of it, like there's all bad aspects to every single thing that I do. So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, of course, if let's say the series does work out and, the channel grows like crazy, Jacob and I do more of this type of series on the channel and we just keep doing them more and more and more. We make sure we have editors for the series. I would say that would probably be my most enjoyable thing to do, is if, let's say, I can do great, fun content with a fellow content creator and just record it, not have to worry about the editing, though I do like to edit. It's just that, like I said, some of the effects that I do, Premiere is just like, oh, it does not want to do it. And that's the most frustrating part. And it's nice to have that done. Then I can focus on live streams, which I do enjoy the most. Podcasts, which I just started doing right now, which I actually really do enjoy doing. Even though this has only been the second episode, it's been a good time. And it's only going to get better from here, which is just really, really cool. And then also the challenge videos, I will get one done soon. And also, I mean, the top 5 I did recently, which that didn't do as well as I thought it would. It kind of just leveled off, which was very unfortunate. But it was the top 5 Radical Red features that should be in the mainline Pokemon games. I thought because Pokemon Radical Red is a ROM hack, that is basically how it works, that they take the Fire Red game, it's the base game, and then somebody makes like a custom patch to put on top of the game if you don't know what it is. And then, yeah, it's like a whole new game. Well, not necessarily, because Fire Red is still Fire Red. But there's like Pokemon Unbound, which is another series I'm doing on the channel. It's a patch you put on Fire Red, and it's a completely different game. Like, completely different region, new Pokemon that Fire Red didn't have, and just, you know, it features that it didn't have. You know, it's just really cool. So they just use Fire Red as just the base, and then they add whatever they want onto it. Just really, really cool. But, yeah, no. I mean, yeah, that top 5 didn't do as well as I anticipated, which is very unfortunate. Maybe at some point, the YouTube algorithm will just push it out for no reason, and bada bing, bada boom, it's going to work. But I don't know. We'll see. So let's see. What's the next question? From GameBoy75. Do you think Bandai Namco should develop the mainline Pokemon games, seeing how well detailed the spin-off games have been? Yeah, I mean... yeah, they had some good stuff. Whether, I mean, Smash Bros. Had Pokemon characters in it. I mean, I wouldn't consider that more of a Pokemon game, but there's Pokemon in the game, and the game looks good. And also, what was it? The Pokken Tournament, I believe they made that game, and graphics look spectacular. Even when it was on the Wii U, it was, yeah, it looks remarkable. And on the Switch, it looks good. I mean, I didn't rebuy the game for the Switch, but... yeah, I say that either way, the game just looks beautiful, and it's a fun game to play. I did play the story. It was really cool. And then they also are doing the new Pokemon Snap game, which looks beautiful as well. I wouldn't want them to be the lead developers, but if they had to have someone be there to work on the 3D graphics and the designing for the actual graphics of the game, then yes, I think that they should be the ones to do that. Because the Pokemon Company, I mean, while they're good at what they've done so far, there really is no match compared to a lot of these other games out there, even on the Switch. And really, Bandai Namco did a really good job with New Snap. And I mean, I'm looking forward to the release of that game. It's going to be exciting, but the game just looks beautiful. And I get that Pokemon Snap is not necessarily, I mean, it is, the graphics look good, but it's like a very stationary thing. Like you're on a car, you're driving, and all you're doing is taking pictures. But it's still, I mean, I feel like in some way, shape, or form, they would do a better job than Game Freak themselves on the actual 3D graphics. I would say maybe they might need a little extra help with the story, maybe add a little more spice to it, I guess. Maybe Bandai Namco would be able to do that. I don't know. But I would still want Game Freak to be the lead as far as for any of the major Pokemon titles. But it would be nice to have, having some extra help to get the final product done and have it be at a quality that everyone would enjoy. Granted, the Switch is not the most graphically intensive. I mean, it's still really good for a tablet. Like, it literally is just a tablet. That's all it is. And it's pretty impressive what it can do. But I feel like there's still a little bit of power that could be pushed out that would be a little bit better than Sword and Shield. And I feel like that other company would be able to do it. So let's see. All right, we got another question. From Hero Killer 190. How would you rate all the mainline Pokemon games? Scale 1 to 10. Alrighty. Here we go. This should be the remainder of the podcast, I would assume. So, Gen 1. Nostalgic. The beginning of the whole thing. So there's a lot to be appreciative about the first game. So if they didn't happen, all the rest of the games didn't happen. But I'll tell you right now, there are a lot of mechanics that were terrible. The special stat was literally one stat, not special attack, special defense. Annoying moves like Wrap and Fire Spin that would trap you in. You can, like, I guess you can't switch. I mean, either way, you can't switch out now, but you couldn't attack when in Gen 1. Like, let's say you hit attack, and the next thing you know what, the attack continues, then you keep getting hit. It is very obnoxious. That feat, like, like if you really think about it, Bellsprout with Wrap Poison Powder, all you do is poison it, wrap it, it's gonna die. Pretty much every other Pokemon except for, the Ghastly line, because I think that's the only ghost type in the game, right? I'm pretty sure it is. But yeah, that's just, it's broken. Then of course Mewtwo is just stupid broken because of the special stat. Literally, it could take a special hit really well, then also hit everything like a truck. So it's just, yeah, there are a lot of weird unbalances with the game as far as, and then some of the mechanics that weren't good, and there were a lot of glitches that were messed up in red and blue, and also some in yellow too. But yeah, no, I would have to give Gen 1 probably a 6 or a 7. Well, you'll give a 6.5 because I do appreciate those games. They're still fun. It's just the mechanics are bad and they didn't age well. So, okay, Gen 2. They improved. They split the special stat. Thank goodness. Added a bunch of new memorable Pokemon. And, I mean, they basically bridged the new region with the old region and added tons of content in the game. And what can you say? It was a solid game. Yeah, I get the first half of the game was relatively easy. You could, like, if you take a look at the first 8 gyms in that game, because of the second half of the game, they didn't want the levels to get too crazy. But yeah, it was a pretty easy game, Gen 2. But I mean, of course, the red fight, if you didn't know what you're doing at the end of Gen 2, that could have been a little crazy. But even then, it really wasn't that hard of a game. It was enjoyable, memorable music, like the Suicune battle theme. Oh my goodness, one of the greatest themes. In my opinion, is the Suicune battle theme. I'm just saying, it is one of the greatest. Especially in the remake for Heart Gold Soul Silver, they gave that was justice. They gave that theme justice. It's good. Even the old version's still good. I mean, obviously, when you put the two side by side, the Heart Gold Soul Silver one's better, but still, it's still an amazing theme. They had good music. They had good Pokemon, good gym leaders. I mean, if you really think about it, the toughest gym leaders in that game were Whitney, because if you didn't know what you were doing, that Miltank was going to destroy you. Morty was a little obnoxious, though I don't know, maybe in Gen 2 he wasn't as bad. Gen 4 he was a little tougher. And then Claire. I would say Claire was pretty tough too. And yeah, no, it was outside of that though, all the other gyms are relatively easy. But yeah, I would give Gen 2 a 7.5. Gen 3, I'm ThirdGenGamer. What do you expect? Game Boy Advance graphics look beautiful. Even to this day, they look good. I mean, pretty much any of the 2D games from here on forward they've aged so well. But yeah, Gen 3 looks great. Love all the Pokemon in this game. I despise Solrock, everyone knows, because my top 5 worst max ray trainers, Gentleman Martin, he ruined Solrock for me. But besides that, I love Rayquaza. I love all the legendaries. I love the story. I love how there's 2 different evil groups for depending on the game. Emerald tied them together, and it was just the battle frontier area in Pokemon Emerald was amazing. I didn't spend a whole lot of time there, but from what I played, I really enjoyed it. Just extra content. I wish it was in Oraz, but it wasn't. It was easily my favorite game, hands down. The only thing that was flawed with Gen 3 is no physical special split, because the physical special depended on the type that you're using. So if you used Fire Punch on a Pokemon back in Gen 3, it was in previous gens too, but in Gen 3, if you use Fire Punch, let's say a Hitmonchan, it was a special attacking move in that game because fire was special versus fighting was physical, which I don't know, were there any fighting type moves in that time that could be considered special? I don't remember, but I know, what was it? In Gen 4, they had Vacuum Wave, which I believe was a special attacking move. I could be wrong on that, but it wasn't until Gen 4 they had the physical special split, which was that was essential for the Pokemon franchise. That was very important. It made a lot of Pokemon better. But as a whole, Gen 3, in my opinion, despite the no physical special split, everything in that game was really good. 10 out of 10 for me, but I'm biased because I'm ThirdGenGamer. Gen 4, I love the story. I mean, Platinum was much better as a whole because it really tied everything together. That's kind of the same way with all these third games. Like, they really tie all the story plot together and really make something even better. Diamond and Pearl were good. Platinum, I feel like, was way better. And, I mean, physical special split, the game looked beautiful. Story was good in Platinum. I felt like Diamond and Pearl was still good, but it felt like there was less of a connection. It wasn't until Platinum that I felt like everything kind of tied together real well. So, I mean, if I had to base off Diamond and Pearl, I'd be like, I mean, it was good, but it was kind of, and then also there were like no fire types in Gen 4 until Platinum. So, yeah. But, yeah, Platinum overall was the better game. If I were to give Gen 4 a score, it would probably be, I would say a 9. I would say a 9. Gen 5. What can you say? Gen 5, I thought was a good gen. It was one of those gens that I didn't appreciate until later on. And let's just say, by the way, I'm not going to be talking about remakes and whatnot. I'm just talking about the base Pokemon games. But if I were to include Heart Gold, Soul Silver and the Gen 4 games, I guess, you know what, we'll just do it. Fire Red, Leaf Green, good title for Gen 3. Doesn't knock the score or anything. Heart Gold, Soul Silver, one of the best remakes ever. So we'll bump up the score to 9.5. 9.5. I'd say that's good. Best remakes ever. Heart Gold, Soul Silver. So many features that they put in that game that didn't carry on for the most part. Like Pokemon walking behind you. It wasn't until the DLC of Sword and Shield when that came back. And that was just a cool idea that they had. And I wish they did it for future games outside of the DLC. But Gen 5. It was a good gen. I mean, it was one of those games, like I said, that I didn't appreciate as much until later on. The story was a little slow for me. That was kind of like the transition where the story started to get a bit longer to the point it's like, hey, you know what? I just want to fight Pokemon and just get a brief story. I just want to play the game, fight really tough trainers. Black and White was kind of the start of the phase where there was a lot more story, and the story was good in Black and White, so at least that wasn't the problem. At least I feel like the Black 2 and White 2 story was much better. But yet again, another bad thing about Gen 5 was that, well, first, there were some Pokemon that were just not memorable, in my opinion. And why the heck did they create a Trubbish? It's literally a trash bag. Anyways, but yeah, this was like the start of, oh, instead of releasing one game as like a third, we're going to release 2 games. So people will have to buy the full content. Instead, they're going to have to pay for both versions. And it's just like, oh, that was probably the worst transition. I mean, based on the games, it was like the games are good, but that was the start of what's Black 2 and White 2? Oh boy, they didn't do it in Gen 6, but Gen 7 they did Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which by the way, that's gonna be an experience and a half. But we're gonna talk about that. But yeah, I would say Black and White as a whole, I'd give it an 8. An 8, it's a good ranking. I would say it was good, but like I said, it was like the start to a lot of stuff I just didn't like the long, obnoxious stories that ultimately don't matter. I just want to fight Pokemon. And yeah, the story, it's always good to have it's different to have an engaging story and then a long engaging one rather than a long story, but not that engaging, which we'll talk about that later on. But Black and White still had a pretty engaging story. I would say Black 2 and White 2 was much better than that, much better than Black and White. I would say Black and White's story was kind of, it was still good, but yeah, Black 2 and White 2 is better. Okay, Gen 6. What can you say about Gen 6? I loved Oraz. They didn't have the Battlefront here, but X and Y felt like the most incomplete games. I felt like there were so many areas in that game where you felt like you should be able to explore, and then they just don't give you access. You're like, oh, maybe let's do like a Pokemon Z or something, and then they'll open up that area, and then there'll be like more content for you to play in the new iteration. Pokemon Z didn't come. Lots of areas, especially in that like desert area where they're like what was it like? It was like there were like these buildings in the desert area. It's like, oh, that looked like a lot of different buildings. That'd be cool. Then maybe they have their own little thing there. Nope, they didn't. The city, I felt like it was redundant, and also there was a huge bug right when the game came out where if you saved in the city, you were soft locked. Like you save the game, turn off the game, turn it back on, and then the screen would be black and no one would be able to see anything. They fixed the game, of course, but they don't have the update anymore. Base patch. If they don't give you, like, for example, if they shut down the 3DS eShop and nobody has the update for X and Y, let's say people new people that want to play the game don't have access to X and Y and they want to play on their 3DS. If someone saves in that huge city, I forgot what it was called. Yeah, they soft lock their game. They have no way to patch it. So that's an issue. But yeah, the story was long and kind of boring, but I still like the Mega Evolution aspect to the game. So that's why I kind of bump it up a little more. But as a whole, that game was fun because of Mega Evolution, new mechanic, loved the new Pokemon in the game. There were some that was like, whatever. But yeah, I would say as a whole, I would give it like a 6.5. It was still a good game. Like before we actually, while we're talking about these like reviews and stuff, I'm talking base comparing it to other Pokemon games. Like if I had to base these off of other games, like from other franchises, I'd still put Pokemon at, for the majority of the time, up above a lot of other franchises. This is like just like from all the Pokemon, this is like the scale of 1 to 10, obviously. 6.5 for X and Y because it felt incomplete in many ways. Okay, Sun and Moon. Oh boy, Sun and Moon. We love Sun and Moon, right? Nope. I know there's a lot of people that do like Sun and Moon. So if you guys, obviously this is my opinion. If you enjoy Sun and Moon, you can continue to enjoy Sun and Moon. I don't want to like have my opinion affect what you believe if you really do love these games. But I'll tell you right now, story's boring. No memorable Pokemon in my opinion. I mean, as far as like the Ultra Beast stuff, I don't give a crap about the Ultra Beasts. Some of them are good, like Kartana, I get that. But like Guzzlord and Stakataka, I'm sorry, but those Pokemon I don't care about at all. Yeah, the story was long, very, like this was like the epitome of the worst story, okay? It was super long and redundant, and it felt like there was no interest in the story. It just felt boring and just long, and it was just terrible. And then I didn't like the idea that the gyms were gone. But at the time when the games were coming out, I was like, okay, I'm optimistic about all the trial stuff. It seems pretty neat. We'll try something new. I didn't like it once I actually started playing it. It just, the game as a whole was just not good. I didn't enjoy it. And then Ultra, then here we go. This is the second rendition, the Black 2 and White 2 kind of deal, where they release new versions, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. And a lot of people, I played Moon. I got through Moon. It was fine, I guess. It wasn't that great. But I bought Ultra Sun. I was like, okay, I'll play Ultra Sun. We'll try it, give it another shot. Maybe they might have fixed some stuff. Like at the beginning, it was ridiculously slow. Nope, the story was exactly the same at the beginning. It was a good time, and I was very excited, and you know, it was all good. And yeah, it was not, it was just, I once I saw the beginning of the game and it was exactly the same, I literally put the game down and never picked it back up. Now there's a lot of people like, hey, the main part with Ultra Necrozma, that's new. It's like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll play 10 hours of a Pokemon game just to get 30 minutes of new content. I don't think so. No. Well, I mean, okay, in many aspects, a lot of the third iterations of Pokemon games were like that, but at least the stories were enjoyable. Then Sun and Moon, it just wasn't. I was like, I can't go through this again. Oh, man. And then plus they had the Z moves, too broken. They were way too broken. Yeah, you could use only one per match, but it was almost a guaranteed kill no matter what you used it against. It was just, at least with Mega Evolution, it's like, yeah, the Pokemon was stacked and kind of tough, but I don't know, for some reason, Z moves just seem way more broken. Just way more. And plus, I just didn't like the idea of Z moves. I didn't like there's the different stones. I'm going to do different dances, and then that represents different types. I don't know. I just thought I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. Sun and Moon, if I had to erase a generation from the franchise, Gen 7, get out. All right, so Gen 8. I actually enjoyed Gen 8 quite a bit. The story was long, I get that, and the story wasn't that great. But I felt like once you got past the beginning of the game, now like this is kind of like Sun and Moon a little bit, but you get past the beginning of the game, the story kind of just goes away for a while. You fight trainers and you fight gyms. Dynamax was a nice new mechanic that, I mean, it was kind of like a mixture between Z moves and Mega Evolution. So I feel like in many regards, it was a happy medium between the two. So I felt like that was really cool. Dynamax was cool. If you didn't Dynamax in the game, it was still kind of rather difficult. I mean, I never really did a no Dynamax run, but it could be in the gym fights, all those Dynamax and Gigantamax Pokemon. It could be brutal. And also, I like the challenge in the 8th gym. I hate competitive doubles, but I like the idea that it's more challenging. Of course, I've beaten that game so many times now. It's for different challenge videos. So it's not as hard for me anymore. Well, I'll tell you right now, one thing that, I mean, my score for Sun and Moon is going to be lower than what you guys will anticipate. Also, and also don't forget about the DLC. The DLC was good. Isle of Armor was like, okay, whatever. But the Crown Tundra was really good. It makes up for that whole expansion. So and that's another thing. I'm happy that they did it in expansion versus just a new game as a whole. Because games are, like $60. The brand new, it's like, yeah, $30 for content. That's pretty good. And you don't have to recreate parts of the game. Just create a new part and just add it on. It's a cool idea. I'm glad they did that. And hopefully future games they do the same thing and don't do all these like future iterations. DLC is the way to go because it's cheaper. It is cheaper than buying a full-fledged game just to get an extra couple hours of content and also a few mechanic changes, I guess. But the one thing that's going to drag down the scores, I kind of mentioned it earlier, the story at the beginning of the game. The first hour of this game is pretty much all dialogue, and it is obnoxious. And for someone like me who does challenge videos, I have to go through that stupid dialogue every single run, and every single time it gets harder and harder for me to be able to handle it. I'm serious. It's like, oh gosh, I'm just like, I have to have something else to do. I'm just mashing A the entire time. That like, it's awful. So, I mean, yeah, this whole like, the whole story thing, I'm telling you, from Gen 5 onwards, the story started to get not only longer, but also less interesting. And Sun and Moon did have a rather uninteresting, not Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield have very uninteresting stories. I mean, really, you don't fight the evil team until after the 8th gym, which is just insane. I mean, it was like a different feel, like, hey, don't worry about the evil organization, go do your challenge. I guess they want to try something different with that. But yeah, no, I see what they were trying to do, trying to spice things up a little bit in different ways. But yeah, the story wasn't good. But I do love the battles in Sword and Shield, and I do love all the new Pokemon in Gen 8. All of them are so good, except for Squavette. And I don't think anyone likes Squavette, to be honest with you, or that line. But yeah, no, all the Pokemon in that game are great. Now, if I were to conclude, give myself like a rating. I didn't even give Sun and Moon a rating. Okay, to give Sun and Moon a rating, it's 1. I don't care. 1, I hated it. Sun and Moon, or Sword and Shield. I enjoyed it, but then gradually started to not like it because of challenge videos and going through the beginning of the game. If you didn't play the game over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, then, I mean, this probably wouldn't have affected my score that much. So this is going to be from my opinion, of course. If I were to not play this game over and over and over and over and over again, it would be a 7. But because I played it over and over and over and over and over again, many times over, I would give it a 5. But yet again, there's another, it's unbearable, the beginning of the game for me. That's just so hard for me to do Sword and Shield challenge videos. Just the beginning of the game, man. It's terrible. I can't stand it. But anyways, yeah, so those are all my rankings. So what was it? Like 7.5 for Gen 1, 8 for Gen 2, Gen 3 was a 10, 4 was a 9, 5 was an 8, Gen 6, what was it? A 6? I don't know. Maybe I might bring that down to a 5 because maybe what I'll do is I'll flip it. So Gen 6 is a 5, Gen 8 is a 6 because I do like Gen 8 more than Gen 6. But yeah, Gen 7, 1. Simple as that. So anyways, we actually went a little bit over an hour here. I mean, whatever, you know, it is what it is. I mean, we don't really have a standard platform. I typically want to stay within an hour, but this topic was a rather big one. And yeah, no, it's a good question. Thank you so much, Hero Killer, for actually giving me that topic, because that was one thing that definitely was, it was a big topic, and it gave me a lot to talk about, give my thought process in every single generation. Let me know in the comment section down below. On the YouTube video, of course, if you're listening on Spotify or various other podcast platforms, be sure to go check out the YouTube channel if you want to put your comments down there. I am in the process of starting up an email. I don't know, it's easy just to start up an email. I just need to get it done. But if you guys want to, you know, send me emails regarding questions and whatnot, I'll be able to get that done soon. And yeah. So if you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new, and hit that bell icon for notifications whenever I upload, because we have lots of content coming. It's going to be crazy. And also, I believe, wasn't it like Apple Podcast? I think there's like set your rating to a 5-star or something. Yeah, whatever the, if there's any rating system, I'd appreciate if you put me at that highest ranking. And I don't know, maybe that might help push out the podcast a little more. I don't know. But anyways, this is going to be it for the podcast. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.